Hi, my name is David Leon and I'm the Ticket to Work Coordinator for the Virginia Department for Aging and Rehabilitative Services. Today we're going to talk about the Ticket to Work for Transition Age Youth. The Ticket to Work is a free and voluntary program to assist SSDI and SSI beneficiaries who have a disability go to work, enter the workforce for the first time, or increase their current work hours. The Ticket to Work and Work Incentives Improvement Act was signed into law by President Clinton in 1999. To combat the rising costs of providing for the disabled and to provide a way for the disabled to re-enter the workforce and stay there, President Clinton signed into law the Ticket to Work and Work Incentives and Improvement Act. The law had four purposes. First, the law provided health care and employment preparation and placement services to individuals with disability in order to reduce their dependence on cash benefits. Second, the law encouraged states to enable beneficiaries to purchase Medicaid coverage that is necessary for them to maintain employment. Third, the law would provide Medicare coverage to individuals with disabilities while they work. And fourth, the law established the Ticket to Work and Self-Sufficiency Program. What the beneficiary should know. Let's take a look at how this program works for the beneficiary. To be eligible, the beneficiary must be between the ages of 18 and 64 and must be currently receiving benefits. Participation in the program begins when the beneficiary receives the ticket, indicating that he or she is eligible to receive services. The beneficiary can then assign the ticket to a service provider. The service provider then provides services for free to the beneficiary. These services include employment services, vocational rehabilitation, and other services the beneficiary may need to become employed and maintain that employment. It's important to note that the beneficiary does not have to participate in the program. Participation is completely voluntary. However, there are two main advantages to participating in the program. First, while the ticket is assigned, the beneficiary receives protection from continuing disability reviews, or CDRs. When the beneficiary is receiving benefits from the government, that person has to have his or her condition checked periodically to ensure that he or she is still eligible to receive services. The CDRs are these periodic checks. They occur every 1, 3, 5, or 7 years based on the nature of the disability. When the ticket is assigned, the beneficiary goes into protected status and these reviews are put on hold, meaning that there is no threat that the beneficiary will lose his or her benefits while working towards self-sufficiency. The second advantage is that the beneficiary will have the opportunity to earn more money than by just collecting disability payments alone. Beneficiaries can earn income from working while still receiving disability payments, thereby obtaining two sources of income. As the beneficiary progresses through the program, he or she will begin to earn enough to no longer require the disability payments. At this point, the beneficiary is earning more than what he or she would have by collecting the disability payment alone. How do ticket holders participate? When the program originated, a paper ticket used to be mailed when SSDI or SSI benefits were approved. The paper ticket is not needed to participate and is no longer a part of the program. However, when people first participated, this is what the ticket looked like. What are employment networks? Employment networks are service providers that are deemed by SSA to be qualified to provide vocational rehabilitation, other types of employment-related services to support and assist beneficiaries enter, maintain, and advance in employment. An employment network can be a single entity, two entities forming a partnership, or a coalition functioning as a single employment network. Some examples include state vocational rehab agencies, workforce centers, and other nonprofit and community service providers. Some of the services provided by employment networks can include career planning, job development, job placement and supports, resume writing, benefits counseling, ongoing employment supports, and assistance with tax incentives. Now let's take a look at the program from the point of view of the service providers. There are two types of service provider, the employment network and the state vocational rehab agency. An employment network, or EN, is a qualified organization that has entered into an agreement with the Social Security Administration to provide or coordinate employment services, vocational rehabilitation services, or other support services to beneficiaries. A state vocational rehabilitation agency, or VR, is a state entity that is mandated in the Ticket to Work program as a partner. Traditionally, a VR provides services to a beneficiary and receives cost reimbursement through the Social Security Administration. However, the VR agency may choose to operate as an employment network, then choose to receive payments as an employment network would. Now let's look at this process from the standpoint of a service provider. First, the service provider connects with the beneficiary. Either the beneficiary sought the organization out because it provides services that he or she needs, or the service provider has sought out the beneficiary because there is a match between the disability and the beneficiary and the services provided. In either case, the beneficiary and the service provider then work out an individualized work plan, or IWP. This document is an agreement between the beneficiary and the service provider that details the services that will be provided in order for that client to reach self-sufficiency. The IWP is then signed by both parties and submitted to Maximus for review. If the review is successful, the ticket is assigned to the service provider, and the service provider can then start to provide those services as detailed in the IWP. As the services are provided, and as the beneficiary makes progress towards self-sufficiency, the employment networks and VR agencies can request and receive payments for the services they provided from the Social Security Administration. What is Partnership Plus? Partnership Plus is a service delivery option under which Social Security will compensate a state VR agency and an employment network for successfully serving the same beneficiary under the same ticket. The service provisions must be sequential, not concurrent. VR provides the upfront services leading to job placement, and the employment network secures the ticket assignment after VR closes the case. Ticket regulations only allow a ticket to be with one service provider at a time. The same service provider may function as a voc rehab vendor while the VR case is open and an employment network after the case is closed. The state VR agency is eligible for cost reimbursement, and the employment network is eligible for Phase 2 and outcome payments, but not Phase 1. What this means to our clients is that they are able to receive services both prior to getting services from VR and after VR services end to maintain and cement that employment for future success. We're going to talk about our pilot with RRTC around Project Search. The Department for Aging and Rehab Services partnered with RRTC to form an administrative employment network to fund transition-age youth with autism at a Project Search site. In this pilot, all Phase 1 and Phase 2 money is split evenly, with RRTC receiving 90% of the outcome payments after that. The pilot was started in 2012 with 3 graduates. 5 additional students were added from the 2013 cohort. In terms of funding, the initial three clients are now beyond Phase 1 and Phase 2 payments. For this group, we have received a total of $22,262 in ticket payments. One client has completely exited the system and is now considered self-sufficient. The other 2 clients are in outcome status, and payments are expected to continue, including reconciliation payments. A reconciliation payment happens when a client reaches outcome 13 and may have missed some payments because they began earning more money more quickly than the program is designed. The potential revenue left for this first group of students is over $20,000. For Year 2 funding, we've had 5 additional students added in the second year of the program. A total of $24,218 has been received in ticket payments for this group, with 4 out of the 5 students completing all Phase 1 milestone payments. In addition, there's over $60,000 left in potential ticket payments that are still available for this group. What that means for the pilot and next steps is that over $49,000 has been received in ticket payments to support the 8 original students signed up for the program. That money's been split between the Department for Aging and Rehabilitative Services and RRTC. Money is still available for 7 of those 8 students to continue to support their choice to go to work and fund the ongoing supports needed for those services. Due to some very specific regulations around state vocational rehab agencies acting as an employment network, this pilot will not take any more students. The pilot has shown, however, that an employment network can create a significant funding source for the long-term employment supports for students in a program like this. DARS is now exploring a new administrative option for this program to continue that will hopefully get away from the regulations currently inhibiting its growth. Now we want to talk about 3 specific work incentives for transition age youth, and they are the Student Earned Income Exclusion, Plan to Achieve Self-Support, and Section 301. The Student Earned Income Exclusion is for anybody under the age of 22 and regularly attending school. Social Security does not count up to $1,730 of earned income per month when figuring your SSI payment. The maximum yearly exclusion is $6,960. The Student Earned Income Exclusion is applied before your General Income Exclusion or your Earned Income Exclusion. Student Earned Income Exclusion is also referred to as SEIE. If you are regularly attending school and you take 1 or more courses and attend classes in a college or university for at least 8 hours a week, or you're in grades 7 through 12 for at least 12 hours a week, or you're in a training program to prepare for employment for at least 12 hours a week, you will still qualify for the Student Earned Income Exclusion. Next, I want to talk about the Plan to Achieve Self-Support. This is a work incentive for clients receiving SSI, and you can become eligible to receive it. You could benefit from a PASS plan. It allows you to set aside other income besides your SSI for a specified period of time so that you may pursue a work goal. When Social Security figures your SSI payment amount, they do not count the income that you set aside under your PASS plan. An employment network, VR agency, social worker, or benefits specialist can help you set up a PASS. The PASS must be in writing and designed especially for you, identify a specific work goal that you are capable of performing, include specific time frame for reaching your work goal, show what income you receive other than SSI and how that income will be used to reach your goal, be approved and reviewed periodically to measure progress toward your work goal. Section 301 continued benefits are the 3rd work incentive to discuss today. If Social Security determines that you no longer have a disabling condition, your benefits usually stop. But if you have assigned your ticket to an employment network or your ticket is in use with a vocational rehab agency, your benefits may continue. Your participation must be Social Security approved, and your participation must show progress towards your work goal. Section 301 may apply even if you are not in the ticket program. You can visit the Red Book online to learn more, or speak with an expert at the Ticket to Work helpline at 1-866-968-7842. How do ticket holders find employment networks? A ticket holder can learn about NEN serving their area by viewing the online directory at www.yourtickettowork.com or contacting BASS Services by calling toll-free at 866-968-7842. BASS will mail out the ticket holder a complete listing of approved employment networks in the same zip code or surrounding area. The ticket holder and EN will discuss the job placement services and supports needed to achieve their employment goal. And remember, many beneficiaries are not aware that they have tickets, and your organization may already be working with these ticket holders. A couple of other very important resources to consider are www.chooseworkttw.net or your state VR agency. One of the things I'm often asked is how a beneficiary should choose the employment network. And the short answer is choose based on the services you need and the employment network offers. There's an employment network report card available to compare different providers, their success rates, the services they offer. And there are some important questions to ask. If you like having face-to-face meetings, you might want to know if the employment network you're looking at is located in your area or they're a national EN and everything is done virtually. Ask questions like, how many people have you helped find jobs? What type of jobs do you get for people? Is your employment network local? In some cases, an employment network is actually an employer in an area where the only jobs they get are in their place of business. Some steps towards success. Building your support team is the best way to begin. You have options to help you get started. Speak with an expert at the Ticket to Work helpline. Learn more about Ticket to Work, read the blog, view, listen to, or read real success stories at www.socialsecurity.gov/work. You can find an employment network that meets your needs or work with your state vocational rehabilitation agency. And stay connected with that support team as you explore your work options and move towards self-sufficiency. Thank you very much for your time today. I look forward to getting your questions on the web board. Have a great day, and please consider utilizing Ticket to Work and Partnership Plus.